In the ancient Roman Empire, power wasn't just given to men. Sometimes it was handed to animals. And not just any animal, a horse. One Roman emperor became so obsessed with his prized stallion that he tried to make it part of the government, turning his horse into a senator. But why? Was it madness, or a message to the world? This is the story of Caligula, Rome's most infamous emperor. A ruler whose name has become a symbol of excess, cruelty, and unrestrained power. Even in an empire used to brutal gladiator games, public executions, and emperors who declared themselves gods, Caligula still managed to stand out. His behavior shocked a world already drenched in blood and madness. From the moment he stepped onto the throne, Rome felt something was wrong. Whispers moved through the streets, through the Senate, through the army. Stories of lavish feasts that lasted for days, punishments handed out on a whim, and decisions so strange that even his closest advisors feared being near him. Caligula became a ruler who seemed unpredictable, untouchable, and completely unstoppable. But buried beneath all the horror stories and the centuries of exaggeration lies one question that historians still argue about today. A question so bizarre that it almost sounds like a joke. Yet it may reveal the truth about Caligula's mind and the true state of Roman politics. Did Caligula really attempt to make his beloved horse a senator? Or was this outrageous act a message, a calculated insult aimed straight at Rome's ruling class? A move not of madness, but of mockery. The horse's name was Incitatus, a creature so admired in Rome that people spoke of it as if it were royalty. It wasn't just fast. It was legendary on the racetrack, a stallion whose victories thrilled the crowds and brought glory to the emperor who owned it. And Caligula loved this horse with an obsession that baffled everyone around him. He fed it oats mixed with flakes of gold, a luxury even Rome's richest citizens couldn't afford. Its stable wasn't a simple wooden shelter like other horses enjoyed. No, Incitatus lived inside a structure made of marble, polished and decorated like a temple. Servants were assigned solely to care for it. Guards were posted outside to keep the horse from being disturbed by noise, especially on the nights before major races. Its feeding bowls were carved from ivory, smooth and shining, treated with more respect than the utensils used by Rome's senators. And draped over the horse's back were blankets dyed the deepest purple, a color forbidden to ordinary citizens, reserved only for emperors and the highest-ranking elites. Caligula didn't just admire this horse, he elevated it. At lavish banquets, surrounded by Rome's most powerful families, Caligula would raise his cup in a solemn toast. Not to his generals, not to his allies, not even to the gods. He toasted Incitatus. And every guest was expected to follow his example. Imagine the awkward silence, the forced smiles, the murmured cheers as Rome's nobles lifted their cups to honor a horse. No one dared refuse. To Caligula, Incitatus wasn't just an animal. It was more than a prized possession or a beloved companion. In Caligula's eyes, the horse became a symbol of favoritism, of power, of mockery. A living reminder that he could take something simple, something innocent, and turn it into a tool for displaying his absolute control. And Rome had no choice but to play along. Ancient historians claim that Caligula's obsession didn't stop with marble stables or golden oats. They say he wanted to make a statement so shocking, so insulting, that Rome would never forget it. And that statement began with the construction of a lavish villa built solely for Incitatus. Not a stable, a villa. The kind usually reserved for nobles, complete with servants, gardens, and furniture crafted by the empire's finest artisans. People whispered that the horse lived better than most senators. Then came the announcement, quiet at first, spreading through the palace halls like wildfire. Caligula intended to make Incitatus a senator of Rome. The idea was unthinkable. The Senate was supposed to be the heart of Roman power, the council of the empire's most experienced leaders. And now, a horse was being elevated to stand among them. But Caligula didn't stop there. During public gatherings, he laughed and claimed that Incitatus would one day become a consul, the highest elected position in the entire Roman government. The consul's role was steeped in tradition, honor, and authority. To suggest placing a horse in that office was more than absurd, it was a direct attack on everything the Senate represented. To the people it looked like madness. Proof that Caligula had lost all connection with reality. Rome had seen tyrants before, but none who blurred the line between political authority and outright ridicule like this. Yet centuries later, some historians propose a very different interpretation. They suggest Caligula wasn't insane at all. He was strategic. Cruel, yes. Unpredictable, absolutely, but not mindless. According to this view, the horse was never meant to govern. It was meant to humiliate. Caligula despised the Senate. He believed its members were weak, greedy, and constantly plotting behind his back. He saw them as relics of a political system that had already died, clinging to a power they no longer deserved. By pretending to elevate his horse to their ranks, he was sending a message sharper than any sword. Even this animal is better than you. It was mockery sharpened into a weapon. Insult wrapped in absurdity. Humiliation disguised as madness. And the Senate had no choice but to endure it. Imagine being a Roman senator. You were raised from childhood to believe you belonged to the most elite circle in the empire. You studied philosophy, mastered rhetoric, served in the army, climbed through political ranks, and fought for every ounce of influence you possessed. Your family name carried weight. Your decisions shaped provinces. Your voice helped determine the fate of Rome itself. And then one morning, you discover that the emperor has compared you, not to another statesman, not to a rival, but to a horse. And in that comparison, you lose. It wasn't just an insult. It was a dismantling of everything the Senate believed gave them worth. Caligula didn't simply challenge the senators' intelligence or their abilities. He stripped away the illusion that they mattered at all. By praising a horse above them, he was mocking centuries of political structure, mocking the traditions that held Rome together, and mocking the very idea of shared governance. Caligula's message was unmistakable. The Senate existed at his mercy. Through Incitatus, he made it clear that power in Rome had nothing to do with wisdom, experience, or leadership. Power didn't come from long debates in marble halls or from wearing a toga with a purple stripe. It didn't come from ancestry or service or loyalty. Power came from him, and only him. If he wanted a horse to outrank the most educated men in the empire, then it would. If he wanted to destroy the dignity of the Senate with a joke, it would stand. If he wanted to bend Rome's political system until it broke, no one could stop him. By elevating Incitatus, Caligula wasn't celebrating the horse. He was demonstrating his own ability to rewrite the rules of reality. To rule Rome meant ruling its traditions, its symbols, and its identity. It meant deciding what was serious and what was absurd, what mattered and what didn't. And through this one outrageous act, Caligula showed that the empire's entire political order could be overturned with nothing more than his will. Even the ridiculous could become real if the emperor declared it so. In his mind, absolute power meant shaping the world not as it was, but as he commanded it to be. Whether Caligula truly intended to place Incitatus in the Senate, or whether the tale grew and twisted into legend over time, one thing is certain: the story reshaped his legacy forever. It became the defining symbol of his rule, an image so absurd, so unforgettable, that it eclipsed every military decision, every political decree, every victory or failure he ever had. Rome whispered about it long after the emperor stopped laughing. But Caligula's iron grip on power did not last. The same guards who once saluted him with fear and obedience eventually grew tired of the chaos that surrounded him. His unpredictable punishments, his insults, his extravagance, and his open mockery of Rome's institutions pushed even his closest protectors to the breaking point. Less than a year after the height of the Incitatus scandal, a small group of his own bodyguards stormed into a corridor beneath the palace and ended his reign with their swords. It was swift, brutal, and fueled by a hatred that had been building in silence. The Senate reacted with a mix of relief and vengeance. They tried to erase Caligula's memory from official records. But they never forgot what he had done to them. The wound he inflicted, the humiliation of being compared to a horse, remained etched into Rome's political pride. As for Incitatus, the horse outlived the emperor. It faded back into an ordinary existence once the throne changed hands, but the legend remained. The image of the imperial stallion, pampered in marble halls and nearly elevated to the Senate, became a story that historians, poets, and playwrights repeated for generations. And today, nearly 2,000 years later, the world still remembers Caligula, not for his policies, not for his wars, not for his reforms, but for the single most outrageous political appointment ever imagined. An emperor who held the power of life and death, and chose to honor a horse above the men who served him. A leader whose legacy can be summed up in one unbelievable act. Rome's most notorious ruler, and the horse he tried to raise to the height of government. So what is the truth? After centuries of debate, scholars still can't agree. Was Caligula completely insane, spiraling deeper into paranoia and delusion? Or was he far more calculating than history gives him credit for? A ruler who used absurdity as a weapon, turning humor and humiliation into tools of political domination? Maybe the truth sits somewhere between genius and madness, in a place only absolute power can create. Because the story of Caligula and his horse isn't just about an emperor playing favorites. It's about the dangerous flexibility of reality when one person holds too much control. With a single announcement, Caligula blurred the line between seriousness and ridicule, forcing an entire empire to question what was real and what was performance. And perhaps that's the real lesson. History isn't always logical. It isn't always reasonable. It doesn't always follow the rules we expect. Sometimes it bends in bizarre directions, shaped by personalities so extreme that their actions echo across millennia. Caligula proved that power can distort everything: politics, tradition, dignity, even common sense. Power can turn a symbol into a weapon. Power can turn a joke into a threat. And in the most unforgettable case of all, power can turn a simple horse into the emblem of an empire's downfall.